this webinar about how the pros do 360 photography, presented by Erlend Bakke, founder of YouSpin.co, and that's me. Okay, so today we're going to go through getting organized, so basically how to get organized before a shoot, how the setup works for the different products, and how to do a shoot, as well as testing what you photograph and getting it online. And at the end, we will do a Q&A. The founders of YouSpin are myself, Erlend Bakke, and Dunja, Lalic, Darko, Blazevic, and Vedran, Cindric. They are based in Croatia, and I'm based in Norway. YouSpin was founded in 2008, and we have worked both with big clients and minor clients in Norway. We've been 5 years in the 360 photography industry, and hopefully that's the knowledge I'll be able to communicate to you today. So it all started with the Matrix, where they used a series of cameras to photograph Neo and all his cool moves. They were actually video cameras. But James Perowne started Lobster Studio in 2003, where he put together a rig of several cameras and photographed them, got them to photograph a person all at once, which then made a 360 of the person. Kind of cool. Here are some of our clients. The ones you might recognize are Jimmy Choo and Estee Lauder. The other ones are mainly Norwegian. So far, YouSpin has had more than 240,000 downloads, and we're steady getting downloads every day. And the goal of this app was to make it very easy for anybody with a smartphone to photograph a product in 3D, 360, and then be able to embed that in eBay and to better communicate what you're selling online. That was the goal. Most people actually photograph themselves in 360 because that's fun. All right, and we've had quite a lot of good reviews. We've got 5 out of 5 stars in both Apple Play, that's interesting, Google Play, and the App Store. We have quite a lot of traffic to our website. We've got 30,000 likes on Facebook and quite a few Twitter followers. And we've made a little bit of money, but we've spent a whole lot more. 360, which is now called YouSpin, is now the leading photography company in Norway. Okay, so one thing that's very relevant to talk about here in relation to 360 photography is that e-commerce is booming. It's really growing fast. In the US, it's growing by 62% up until 2016. European e-commerce sales is growing by 78%, and online retail sales is growing 4 times quicker than normal brick and mortar sales, which is massive. So more and more people are buying online, and the question then is, how do you differentiate yourself online? So the 4 main ways of differentiating an online store is having really good marketing, really good prices, really good logistics, and a really good experience. And 360 photography is in the experience field of online sales. Just wanted to mention here the first client that we had in London was June.co.uk, where they took about a year to tell us this, but after 1 week of using 360 photography, our sales doubled. And that's a really good thing to use if you're looking to pitch a 360 to a client. You can say, oh, you can actually double your sales. Is it worth spending a little bit more money to get something in 3D 360 if you double your sales? And there's some more good stuff as well. Okay, so basically, why use 360 photography? So I guess the fact of the matter is that we are fancy monkeys. So we buy based on emotion and justify the purchase with logic. So we use, but we primarily use feelings for buying, not logic. So feelings we get through our senses. So most websites are, you view a website, you can listen to stuff on a website if there's like a video. But then with 360, you're sort of touching the object, which is more engaging, which therefore increases sales. And you also understand better what you're buying, so that's why it works well. Just wanted to mention that we have a couple of videos on our website that are also very educational in terms of how to use the app. This is about how to use the app. And we also have a solution for, if you're trying to sell something on eBay. We actually sell some very simple turntables in our store on youspin.co. We're actually drop shipping those, so it's we have a provider in Hong Kong that actually ships that out to you. We're actually not that much involved in that process, but it is a service that we wanted to offer customers. And there's a video on the store that shows you how to photograph a shoe in 360 and also get it online. Okay, so e-commerce is booming. At this present time, there's about 4 million houses for sale in the US. There's 6 million cars. There's 15 million products for sale, probably more. So there's a lot of content out there which is badly communicated because you can't really experience it for how it looks in the real world. So a couple of selling points, again, if you're a photographer and you're watching this and you're trying to sell 360 photography to your clients, a couple of things you need to communicate to your prospect is 58% of all internet users actually prefer to watch see a product in 360. That's actually research from Adobe that they did a couple of years ago. More than 80% of internet users do not buy if it's if you use bad imagery. They will not buy if it's pixelated and things like that. Just forget about it. You need high quality imagery to make online sales. With our solutions, basically with 360, you can really increase your sales and you can reduce returns. So returns are really expensive for online stores, and anything you can do to return to lower returns is good. So those are the main selling points for selling 360 photography. Okay, and there's some challenges. Just gonna have a sip of water here. Okay, so there are some challenges with 360 photography, which you should be aware of before you start. And that is that it's a more time-consuming process. What I mean by that is that it takes longer to style the products. I'll get back to that later, but it is a more time-consuming process, period. You need some extra equipment. I'll show you some equipment later on. You show products for what they really look like. That means you'll actually be, showing it for how it is. With 2D photography, you can use clever lighting. You can do a lot of photo editing. You can get things to look a lot nicer than they actually are. 360 photography doesn't really give a lot of room for that. So you're actually showing a product for something that, how it actually looks like. So you need to spend more time on styling, which means you might need to, custom build some mannequins. You may need to touch up the product better. Just in general, the styling takes more time because you see the product from all sides. And color issues. Color is always going to be a challenge in photography, and I'll get back to that later. But we use something called X-Rite to get the color right. And another challenge is that because it's rich media basically means it's interactive and engaging. It takes longer time to load. So now that more and more people are using their mobile phones to view content, that can be a challenge. Okay, so you can actually get access to more content. If you go to thesecretsof360photography.com, you get access to a whole bunch of other videos. So check out that website. So what are you going to learn? Let's get going on that. You're going to get organized. We're going to talk about the setup. We're going to talk about the shoot. We're going to do some testing. We're going to get it online. Okay, so what kind of equipment should you be using? Well, I recommend you use a professional camera. It could be Canon or Nikon. We actually use the 5D Mark III because it's got video and it's got a really nice sensor. It's got a full frame sensor which gives you really high quality pictures. You can buy Elinchrom flash heads, or you can go more expensive and buy something like Pro Photo. But it's important to remember that instead of taking one photo per product, you will be taking anything from 12 to 36. So they do get a bit worn. But why not start off with some simple equipment like Erlend, and then you can build on that. We use Lalic backgrounds, which are really good for backlighting the product. And we used the CBAS 50 360 turntable to make our 360s. It's a really good piece of equipment that I'll be showing later on. So getting organized. This is actually the most important part of a photo shoot. It is very important that you batch produce, which means don't photograph a jacket and then a pair of shorts and then a t-shirt and then a hat. You know, what you need to do is to go to a client and say, we need all your jackets. So if there's 500 jackets, send us all your jackets first, and then, you know, as you move along with production, you want to do more and more of the same types of clothing. It's just a really good way of producing photography. So batch production, and you should do that in terms of everything that you do. Color, size, type. Okay, so it's really important that you test, photograph all the products before you start the main production of the shoot, because the client will suddenly turn around and go, oh, you have to redo this. You have, you know, it's not the color that we wanted. It's not the style that we wanted. So please, please, please make a style guide. A style guide is basically a PowerPoint presentation where you show all the products that you're going to photograph in the different angles that you're going to be doing it. And the client has to sign off on the style guide. And it's important that they sign off on the style guide, because then if they want to change something, you can say, yeah, but that's different than the style guide, and then you can charge them for the new shoot. If you don't have a style guide that they have signed, they will likely not want to pay anything. And you do need to get paid if you're a professional photographer. You are not a charity, right? Okay, so it's really important as well, get organized, use an Excel spreadsheet. So get the client to send you their Excel spreadsheet. All clients will have an Excel spreadsheet with a product overview. Get them to send that to you. You upload that in Google Docs, and then you share it with them. And then in the Google Docs document, you can mark off when you photograph something, so they don't have to phone you up. You know, they can just go into Google Docs and check what you photographed. It's a very, very good way of communicating with your client without having to talk to them. Yeah, that's okay. And one more thing, make sure that you have all the equipment before you start photographing, because you don't want to be running across town to buy, you know, a bulb or something like that. I always buy and have about 3 extra of bulbs and things like that, you know, in the studio, because again, it's really time consuming if you have everything organized and then you realize you're missing something and you have to do you know, postpone it. And another thing is that the photography industry is very deadline oriented. So if you're not able to deliver on deadlines, you will not have any more work. People don't want to work with you if you can't deliver on time. So get organized and be a professional. So here's an instruction guide. We've called it the 7 steps to 360 photography. And you can get access to that in the secrets of 360 photography. So you have to log on there to get it, but I'm showing it to you here anyway. So the first step is to choose a turntable. Now, there's 3 turntables you can choose between. There's a manual one, there's an automatic one, and then there's a fully automated one. We're going to be looking at a fully automated turntable in a little while, actually after this. And I just want to explain the manual one. The manual one is when you just do it by hand. That's how I used to do it when I started up. I went to a Chinese restaurant and I got one of their pizza boards kind of thing, and I just marked off the angles, and then I started photographing. An automatic one is like if you if you get one of the turntables from our store, which is like a low-end solution, they just turn around and around and around, and they don't also trigger the camera. So if you want to go fully automated, go to studiohireinlondon.co.uk, buy our 360 turntable. Just take a look at that now. Okay, there's a little reminder for me to focus on what I want in life. That's all right. Okay, we're actually not at the we're going to soon look at those. I just want to mention it's really important to set the white balance on your camera before starting a shoot. You do that by having a piece of gray cardboard or just white cardboard, and you hold it in a 45-degree angle, and then you photograph it. Before photographing, remember to put in an SD card or similar so that you capture it on the SD card. Then go into white balance settings, light settings, and then choose custom white balance, and then you choose the image that you took of the gray or the white cardboard. Okay, that's really important. Why is it important? It's important because I once did a shoot of 365 products and I forgot to set the white balance. So it was totally wrong. All the photographs were wrong, and I actually lost that contract, and I lost about $100,000. So please, please, please do set the white balance before photographing a whole bunch of products. Now, color. Color is probably one of the main challenges in photography, especially when it comes to product photography. The second is styling. So first the client will look at the colors, then they'll look at the styling. Okay, so if you don't get those two right, you won't get paid and you'll probably lose the contract. So color, color, color. We shoot in RAW using X-Rite technology. X-Rite is fairly cheap. I think it's around $100. And you know, what you do is you calibrate your camera using this color checker, and then we convert the RAW pictures to JPEGs, and then we send them to the Philippines for editing. We own a company in the Philippines called 360 Factory. Where, you know, if you contact us, you get a free trial. So if you're experimenting with 360 photography, send us your imagery, we'll edit it for you. Okay, so now let's look at just a simple setup. Let's hope this plays. Okay, remember to black out the windows in the studio. That's why I'm showing that here. Okay, it's just a bit buggy there. Let's just do a refresh here. All right, there it's playing beautifully. Okay, so when we photograph shoes, we just have a light really high up underneath, and we have a 45-degree angle on the flash. And then we use the CBAS 50. As you can see here, it's got a nice little control panel and some shoes. It's really important to put the shoes in the middle. And you know, it's just turning around, triggering the camera, and that's the Lalic background I was talking about with Erlend lights. And you know, it's a really good way of producing some 360 photography for your clients. Okay, so the next slide is showing the Crayfish 50. Okay, so this is actually made by James Perowne, who was the guy that built the human rig. This is actually how we photograph people now. We put a model on. Okay, it looks like I need to refresh that. Okay, let's just start again. So when we photograph people now, we use the Crayfish 50. There is some image editing involved there, but the good thing with this turntable is that it can do anything from people to shoes to yeah, whatever you're doing. It can even do jewelry. It's got a nice setup for jewelry, and it's just really durable, and it's got really high use of materials. It's easy to disassemble and exchange parts. I'm not saying that you will have to do that. We haven't had to do that for the 5 years we've been using it. And as well, if you have an issue, James and CBAS, they're really good at following up and giving you excellent service. So it's comes with different plates. There's a white disc, there's a black disc. There's also a mannequin stand. I believe that comes extra. But it's just a really simple way. There's the mannequin stand there. It's just a really simple way of producing high quality photography. And yeah, just check it out. He has his product on eBay. I believe it's retailing for £1,600 at the moment with free shipping within the UK. Here's the control panel. You can do anything from 2 frames to 99, I believe. Yeah, it's just a wicked product made in the UK. durable, easy to replace parts, and yeah, just if you're gonna buy some equipment, buy that. That's what we use. That's what we recommend. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, so step number two. Step number two is that it's really, really, really important to position your camera so it's facing, so the center of the camera and the lens is facing directly in the center of your 360 disc. If you do not align it properly like that, you will have a funny spin. And if you're photographing 100 products times 24 times, it's really, really costly and time consuming to do that again. So make sure your camera is nicely balanced on the tripod, so it's not leaning to either side. Make sure that the middle of the camera is in the middle of the disc. Now, what you can do is you can mark the middle of the disc with a little something, and you can put like a screw or something in the middle, and then you focus, you look through the lens and make sure that it's in the center all the time. Okay. Now, placing the product. Placing the product, we actually had a question yesterday in the webinar about how to place the product so it's in the center, so it doesn't sort of doesn't loop around. And the trick is to first align the camera and then align the product. So you do that by first checking that it's even on each side by looking through the lens, and then you turn the disc 90 degrees and check that the product is in the center there also. That's how you check. You have to check 90 degrees, 90 degrees. Okay. Now, lighting. Lighting depends on the product, but in general, you can light it similarly as if you were doing a single photograph. The trick here is to use some black fabric and white fabric to light the product more or less, especially if you're photographing white products. It's really beneficial to use some black cloth on either side to just get some more contrast on the product. Okay, camera settings. I'm not going to go into all the settings because it depends on your lighting. But the really, really important thing to remember here is that before you photograph, you make sure the product is inside your frame at the widest part, and then you put the zoom on automatic, and then you zoom in. You'll hear a sound that goes doo-doo, and then you put it to manual. So that's so that all the frames are focused. If you keep it on automatic, you'll have a jumpy spin and it doesn't look good. Okay, so first automatic, hear the sound, then you put it to manual. Okay. So capturing process. You should capture anything between 12 and 36 frames. We use 24 because it's the perfect balance between smooth rotation and download speed. That's basically what we're looking for. Yeah, and always test and check with the client once you've produced the spin. Okay, the best thing is probably to have them in the studio while you're doing it, so they can work with you. Okay, let's look at how to upload a spin. So this is our normal website. You can go to YouSpinPro here. I'm just going to log in. And here, basically, you can see all the different products that we have in our library. You can search and etc. I must say we're launching a new version of YouSpinPro soon, so it's exciting times. Okay, so here's a 3D, 3D Choo. And to create, you just go to Create, Product Spin, Browse Images, and then you find the folder with all the files, press Open, and then it starts uploading. The speed depends on your internet connection pretty much, but we can put in testing here, testing for webinar. We can put it public. We'll put in, if you have a product number, that's then searchable later on. So with the new YouSpinPro, we're doing some really cool things, and what we're doing is we're allowing you to do 2D, 360, and video all in one player. So basically you'll have 3 libraries. One will be still imagery, one will be 360 imagery, and one will be video. The video is an embed from YouTube, but it basically allows you to communicate product really well on smartphones. I will be getting back to that. I just wanted to you know, entertain you while we're uploading the spins here. So we're soon done. And yeah, one thing I want to mention is that we use CDN. CDN means that if you try to just click create new spin here. So if you're in the Philippines, for instance, and you're looking at one of the 360s that we've hosted on YouSpin, it will load as quickly as if you're in your own country. So CDN means that we have mirrored all our data in every country in the whole world. This is so that, you know, because we're a rich media company, we want to make sure that people can see your content really quick. Okay, so if you just press my creations here, you can see the shoe we photographed earlier in the video is here, and it's just, you know, really smooth rotation. It's showing the product for how it looks like, and yeah, it's a very simple system, very durable, and you know, go to YouSpin, youspin.co to check it out. Okay, so one thing I want to mention here is image editing. There is not if you're photographing shoes like I showed before, but you know, if you're doing some fashion stuff, doing people, there's going to be some image editing. And because you've found this video, we're going to give you some free image editing. So just go to 360factory.com and you know, go to Dropbox and send us your files. Put in some instructions, and you know, we'll get those back to you. And we deliver within 24 hours. We are very focused on, you know, long-term relationships and in serving our clients the best way possible. So we have long-term relationships, basically. That's what we're interested in. And we've been around for 5-6 years now, so, you know, we're growing every year, and you know, we're professionals. So if you're looking for a professional image editing company, you can try us out. Okay, YouSpinPro software, I think we covered that. So this is the new YouSpinPro, where we're just, you know, totally rebranding it, making it, adding lots of features. We're adding Zoom, and a whole bunch of other things. We'll be launching that very soon, and it might actually be launched when you watch this video. It's a responsive design, which means you will be able to access your content really nicely on all devices. Any, you know, different size tablets, different size screens. That's what responsive means. And as I mentioned before, we're taking 2D, 360, and video, putting it all into one player, and focusing on mobile phones. The reason we're focusing on mobile phones is because about 30% of all online sales now is through mobile phones, and it's growing. So that's the platform we were focusing on, because that's where, you know, we're seeing the industry go. And we're also adding a sharing function, which is very similar to Dropbox. You can either share your content internally, or you can share your content externally. And there's two types of permission. Permission 1, you can delete files and you know, upload and change. On the external one, you can only embed and download. Okay, so it's just just making a really simple product library as well, because there's a big need for our clients to be able to share their content with other online stores. And there's just no solution out there that does that in a very simple way. So this is how we imagine it looking on an iPhone. You'll just tap the different views to see how a product looks. We're talking to eBay about, you know, having our player embedded in their system. And this is a little preview of our new iPhone app that's coming out shortly. We do have some free stuff. You get access to that by going to the secrets of 360photography.com and just putting in your info there, and you'll get access to all the stuff. Question time. So This is actually a webinar presentation, so seeing as this is on YouTube now, you can't actually ask any live questions, but what you can do is you can write your questions below the video and we'll reply to them. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you got something out of this. Our mission is to create a more interactive world. We strongly believe that products should be communicated in the way that they're experienced in the real world online. That's the value we're trying to add to the world. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.